Here on Dear Old State with myself, Joel Coleman, my co-host Logan Lowery, we continue kind of what's a little bit of a series, I guess. Now we had Coach O'Connor on. We had Matt Kirby on earlier this week, and now we are joined by Associate Head Baseball Coach Kevin McMullan here on the show on Dear Old State. First off, Coach, welcome to Starkville. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you. It's great to be here. Been here for about, over 60 days. It's been incredible start in our time here in Starkville. My wife is here with me. My kids were empty nesters, so it's been nice for the last month to have her here. But we hit the ground running, working, trying to find players, and now we're getting settled in this quiet period where we can't go out and recruit, but getting settled into Starkville.
Yeah, just what's that transition like? I mean, obviously, y'all were at a big time program there in Virginia and had it successful for so long. But in a way, most of the staff came from Virginia, so there's some comfortability, working with each other and compatibility. And you basically just move operations to Starkville, and obviously, Mississippi State loves baseball, so you got all the facilities and stuff that you want. But what's that transition been like from moving from one premier program to another?
Yeah, it's the job we do. Right now we're starting over because you had a system in place for 20 years, and everybody was comfortable with one another, and we still are comfortable with one another. We're just trying to navigate the waters here at Mississippi State and Starkville, and then the recruiting trail, implementing your system with your players as well, whether it be base running, first and third defense. So all those things are new for all of us, not for us, but for the players. So how you deliver that and the exactness you want is important, and I think our guys know that already. We've been with them for basically a week and a half, going into our second, full week of skill work with our guys. So it's an exciting time. You rewind a little bit because you haven't done it. We had a mentor program at Virginia, and we haven't been here long enough to have a mentor program. So we are the mentors, and I think it's important that we're all on the same page. We have clarity to what the players are hearing. There's no miscommunications because we all know one another because we came together.
In talking with Coach Kirby and, when Coach Oak gets hired here and Coach Kirby's decision to come here, which I believe he labeled as a no-brainer to continue on with Coach Oak. But you've actually been with Coach Oak even longer than Coach Kirby. I believe you were at Virginia for 22 seasons, 19 as associate head coach under Coach O'Connor. For you, when Coach Oak is hired here and things, just kind of walk us through that process of when it's, okay, Coach O'Connor's hired, I'm going to be putting on maroon too, I guess. Just kind of walk us through that process and your decision to come to Starkville along with Coach O'Connor.
Yeah, we were there for a long time, 21 years. I raised my kids in Charlottesville. But I'm at a particular point in my coaching career that I love the people I'm with. The messaging's all the same. There's a new world out there, NIL, that we're working through. He's exceptional at it. My strengths are more on the field and in the recruiting world. So it was a no-brainer for me. The quality of life that we're living, and my kids, and talk to them a little bit, and they're like, Dad, we're all in. I said, you are all in. They've always been. My wife, I talked to my wife, Sandy. She's like, wherever you go, I go. So it was an easy decision, because of the time we've spent together and know one another. I probably had less arguments with Brian O'Connor than I had with Sandy McMullan. And I've been married, almost 25 years now because we think alike a little bit, but we have our differences, and those are usually shared. So it was a no-brainer for me, and then obviously the tradition here. I know a lot of the coaches that were here before and just what it stands for, and we're just another group of coaches that are going to try to write a new chapter for Mississippi State baseball, and I'm grateful and thankful that I'm on the bus.
Yeah, a lot of times that gets lost in the shuffle, the family aspect of when there was a coaching change, because it affects a lot of people more so than just the staff. I mean, you get your wives and your kids and all that. It affects everybody involved, but it takes a special person probably for you to uproot your family and move to a different place. But Brian O'Connor, you were willing to do that. To me, that says a lot about him. That not just you, pretty much the entire staff was willing to uproot their families and move to Starkville. What's so special about Brian? I mean, you've probably spent more time with him than anybody else on that staff. But what is so special about Coach Oak that you're willing to do that with your family?
Well, he's consistent, number one. Every day he shows up to pour into our guys and us as a staff every day, 24/7. So that's an incredible skill and an incredible quality. He's been loyal. He's been great to me and my family. And I think part of that is that you're comfortable. You know you're in the bunker together. It's not just, hey, this is, he gives everybody autonomy and what their responsibilities are, but he knows he's got a pulse for everything. So it's like a big brother, younger brother, father figure. He can do it all for each different guy on this staff. We've got some young coaches with young families, and we've transitioned, so he's sharing experience with those guys, like just hang in there. They'll get here, and so just the overall quality of how he thinks and how he gets everyone's respect, but he doesn't have to pound his chest or do any of that kind of stuff. It's by showing that he cares.
Obviously, as we mentioned at the top of the show, the title associate head coach here. You wear a lot of hats, though, within this organization. Things. Just talk a little about the roles that you play on this staff and the things that you do and the things that you oversee.
Yeah, first thing is I was a recruiting coordinator for a long time, and now Coach Kirby's that. So I'm an ear if needed. I'll also go out and evaluate players and obviously telephone calls and talk to recruits. And my responsibilities on the field will be working with our hitters, all of our base running stuff, and Mike Roberts will help out with that as far as the director of scouting, getting information versus our opponents. Coach Kirby's assisted me in his whole time with us at Virginia with the hitters, and it's not a one-man show. It's everybody involved. Coach Kirby works with the catchers. I'll work with the infielders. Some days I'll be gone on the road, and someone else will work with the infielders. But my main responsibility is to support everybody in every situation, and then obviously I'm in charge of the hitters on a daily basis and the infielders to get them prepared for games.
Third base coach too, as well.
Third base coach as well. Run the offense. If I have questions, I peek in there sometimes, but it's been pretty consistent that we're all on the same page of what we're going to do going into the game. Sometimes things happen in a game, you got to make adjustments, but we'll all be on the same page going into a game, and then whatever the game challenges you to do, we'll be able to adjust accordingly.
Right now, we're kind of in the individual skill work portion of the fall, and I think September the 19th, I believe, is the first team practice, and hold an inter-squad scrimmage that day as well. But during the fall, what are some of the main objectives, especially with the new staff and a new team this fall? What are some things that some boxes that you want to get checked off?
I would say first thing, the language. It's like they had a certain language with their previous staff. Our language is probably a little bit different. So learning the language and what that particular, word or means to them and how we see it, number one. Number two is get them acclimated to the basic fundamentals, which, if you're a good baseball program, you do the fundamentals the best, whether it be base running, whether it be moving runners, small game, making the routine play, so all the basic fundamentals. That's what we do in a lot of the skill work, and we're introducing, in our meetings, we're introducing the language and then what it means, and then tests and here and there and say, hey, what's this mean? What's this value? What do these, acronyms mean? So everybody's on the same page, and we continue to get better daily.
I was asking Coach Kirby about his catchers earlier, and I'll ask you a somewhat similar question, although for you as well, it may not be that fair of a question since some of the individual work hadn't been going on too terribly long yet, but seeing some of the guys, being around some of the guys the last week and a half, going on 2 weeks now, has there been anything from an offensive side that's kind of stood out to you that, maybe a guy or two or maybe a trait or two that's within the guys that we have here that's already kind of impressed you?
Yeah, just the maturity, the maturity and approach. A lot of people talk about swing and all that stuff as a hitting guy, and we're pretty much the opposite. We want to talk about approach, and the swing usually follows the approach. So just the maturity of the guys that are returning, and that they've played at a high level. They understand the game, even though it's a little bit of different vocabulary. Baseball's still the same. So, and when you say corners up, middle back, hit a ground ball in the middle of the field, they've done that before. It just might be, said in a different way. Yeah. So, and they're all baseball players. They care about it. They're listening to every word that you say. So, I've been really impressed with the ability to absorb information. And, I've shared with them that like, we're going to continue to coach you. That's the beauty of social media and technology, is that we can continue to coach you even when we're not on the field, by sharing different diagrams with them, different videos with them, maybe the script for something that we're going to learn the next day. So that's the beauty of that part of it. And so we're just continue to teach them, try to stay in contact with what they just learned, and then either give them some information beforehand, paper-wise, or after paper-wise, and just continue to help them understand our language, and then for us to continue to hold them to the standards of being the best they can be each day.
The first night that y'all were in Starkville, you and I talked, and then it was a while before I saw you again, because, I mean, this staff hit the ground running in recruiting. I mean, they were all in on recruiting. I mean, it was sun up to sundown, and even beyond that, recruiting day in and day out. How important was that, when y'all got boots on the ground here in Starkville, to go ahead and get started with recruiting, and not only building relationships and building a class for this upcoming spring, but for years to come, go ahead and getting those relationships and everything established with that staff?
Yeah, I mean, that's everything. That's the backbone of a program, is recruiting. And so when we landed, we tried to, obviously a handful of us were focused on trying to make this roster the best roster it could be. And then, a few of other of us were going to check on the kids that were committed here and they're still interested in coming to Mississippi State. And then also guys that we had committed from Virginia, to see if they would be interested in maybe coming to Mississippi State. So there was a lot of different balls moving and spinning, but we just chipped away one day at a time, did it the right way. We didn't want to speed into anything. We wanted to make sure it was the right people, the right fit that wanted to be here. And so I think anytime you do that, usually you have longevity in keeping players. This is a different day and different time based on the transfer portal and NIL. So all those things factor in. And I think Coach Oak and Curb and all of our support staff did an incredible job of just finding the best fits for Mississippi State, and brought a lot of people in to visit. A lot of people were really excited about the place, but I think the players that we did get and that we did keep were the right fit for Mississippi State.
It's not unusual to talk with coaches in every sport, really, and hear the word fit mentioned. But I feel like in the limited time I've got to spend around you guys, it is, under Coach O'Connor and you guys, more of a priority maybe than on any staff I've ever seen before, to find that, I guess, talk about 5-tool players in baseball, find that 6th tool, the personality piece, the fit piece is so important. Do you feel like that's why you guys have been able to have the consistent success that you were able to have at Virginia, and hopefully, we have continue to have here at Mississippi State as well? Is it that relationship piece, that fit piece? Because it really does seem like for you guys that's as important as, maybe just talent, even to be, whether it's the mentality, just that fit piece does seem so important to all y'all.
Yeah, I think, this is a tough game, and there's a lot of failure in it. So if you don't have that kind of relationship, and it's just transitional, and there's not, built-in trust, and because the game's going to knock you on your tail, yeah. And you have to know that guy has that wits about him and that mentality to just keep putting his foot on the gas pedal, showing up, getting up, and those are the guys that, in baseball last the longest. Obviously, we want skill, we want talent, but I think a mental toughness and a mentality and a servant mentality gets you through those tough times. And it's just been an idea of what we like, because historically those guys hang in there a little bit longer, get a little bit tougher, and get it done for you when you need them. Make the pitch, make the play, get the bunt down, move the runner, all those things. Those are the guys, historically, in our experience, and from the success we've had. If success leaves clues, let's not bury our head and say this is the only way, but let's stay with what the fundamentals and the foundation is, and then if we have to adjust, we'll adjust. But I think those players are championship players that have the servant mentality and are going to do something more for the group first and themselves second. And that's a difficult task in a one-on-one matchup between a pitcher and a hitter, or the batted ball and a defender. But those are the people we like, that I think when we talk to them, they're attracted to it, and it's a match for us. So hopefully we get all those kind of players. You're never perfect in what you do, but we want to get those kids that want to serve the group first and then take care of themselves second. And it really alleviates a lot of the pressure on the individual when he's serving the group first. And with so much failure in baseball, it's important that you got a little bit of a safety net around you, your teammates and your coaches. And I think it gives them balance and allows them to continue to fight day in and day out.
In Mississippi State's program and the fan base have a reputation. I mean, they're all about baseball, and it kind of precedes, probably what you experienced when you first got here. But when you got here and you got to see firsthand just how much this fan base cares about baseball here and the program and the stadium and everything that you've been able to experience since you've been here in Starkville. I mean, when you go to Coach O'Connor's welcome event and you see the stands packed for him to get up there and give a speech. But what does that say to you, the decision that you made to come here and coach? How much does that put a stamp on things, that you made the right decision?
Well, I think anytime you get support, baseball in most places is third fiddle if they're really, really special baseball programs. So to be at Mississippi State and how people think about it at the top of the food chain from a fan perspective is really, really delightful, I don't, we're here because of what they've done in the past, the fans, the tradition, the facilities, all that stuff. But our job is to coach the players and make sure that we give them the best experience. And part of that best experience is the fan support. And, listening to the players like this place is really cool, really special. And listen to former coaches that have come through here and said, like, man, you're at a special place. You guys do it the right way. It's a great fit for who you guys are and what they value. So it's exciting, man. It's why you come to Mississippi State. You want to be at the best, play with the best, against the best, and try to be the best. So I think those are the things what get my feet moving every day, and probably all of our feet moving. Like, you get up and let's go. We got to get a little bit better today, and if we get the right people, player-wise, and we coach them up and teach them up, we'll be competitive day in and day out.
I know you've been doing this a long time, Coach, but how eager are you to put on that maroon and white and get out there this fall? I know right now, like we said, we're doing individual work, and you've been recruiting all that. You feel like a kid again to get out there in the fall and get these guys in competition situations and game situations and get after it. You ready for all that?
I'm ready for it. I'm grateful to be back on the field. It's my sweet spot. I love coaching the players and helping them improve. And we're scripted practices at different times, and then it's competition at different times, and then it's freedom to grow at different times. So we have different ways of teaching, and not one way or the only way, but other than hard and continuous and serving others. If they don't do those three things and they listen, they're going to get better.
And when did this coaching bug hit you? When you wrapped up your playing days, is coaching always kind of been in your blood? Is it something you've always kind of wanted to do?
Yeah, I've been. When I was a kid, I said, well, when I'm done playing, I want to coach because of the impact of the people that I've been fortunate to be around have made an impact on me. My dad was an NFL player. He was our coach, our home coach. And then, anytime you played for a different coach and you had a great experience, you always come back and share it with your dad. And I just, wanted to pay it forward a little bit. So many people have poured into me and my evolution as a young man and a player, football and baseball. And it came natural to me. And like anything, you got to grow and you got to make adjustments. And I'm grateful I'm in this business. It's been wonderful. I found the right wife to be a coach's wife, and it took a little bit of while, but I was into trying to coach, and as soon as I was done playing, I was in it.
How was the connection with Coach O'Connor made? Y'all two linking up and now been together for decades.
Yeah, it's he was at Notre Dame. I was at St. John's. We played in the Big East together. My dad played football at Notre Dame, so when we went there, I had a little bit of affinity for the place, and he was there coaching. So we had a connection, and then when Notre Dame had a job open, I was the acting head coach at East Carolina, And at the end of the year, athletic administration wanted to make a change, and so I was trying to get the job at Notre Dame. So I talked to Brian for like 2.5 straight weeks.
Yeah.
Just my daughter was one. I had one on the way, and I needed a job. My sister lived in South Bend, and so we talked a good 2 straight weeks. And his boss was like, I want to hire a younger guy that has less experience and wants to grow in this business. And so it didn't happen, but Brian and I built a friendship. And then that next year I went to coach with the Braves. And then when the job came open at Virginia and he got it, we had a conversation, and I left professional baseball, and we've been together ever since.
Yeah.
What's maybe something that the fan base doesn't know maybe about Coach Oak that you've seen on a firsthand level of maybe something off the field that people may not know about him that makes you appreciate him as a person?
How he handles his family. His family's first and foremost, and I think that's all of us. But like, he's a family man. He works like a fiend, but he's a family man first. And I think most of us in that office are that way. But like, we're passionate about what we do, and when you're done doing your work, you go home. You might have to answer a couple telephone calls, but we got great lives. We got great kids. They're into it, and he's an example for all of us to follow.
And there's one coach, obviously, that wasn't with y'all in Charlottesville. It was, Justin Parker, and obviously he has been here the last 2 seasons and spent last year kind of as an interim head coach. How easily was he integrated into y'all's culture with the staff?
Yeah, I think when we were here, when they came back from the regional, I think we talked to Justin for like 3 or 4 straight days, and he did an incredible job, I thought, in the interim basis. Not that my opinion matters, but I think he did. And in our time with the players and exit interviews, they were all very complimentary. And then just getting to know him and seeing what he was about, and did it mesh with who we are, and it was a perfect mesh. And it's been great. He's passionate about what he does. He cares about the players. He challenged the players to be the best every day. A lot of the things we talked about earlier, he's doing all those, and that's who he is. And he's a family man. So it's been a great fit so far, and I'm sure he's enjoying himself as well.
Well, as we start to wrap up here on the show, Coach, you also inherited a media relations guy here too. I got to ask, what's your evaluation so far of him?
Oh boy, I probably need to get up and leave on this one.
I think sometimes the picture's really not the truth about who a man is.
Don't judge a book by its cover.
Don't judge a book by its cover, but it's been great. It's been great. I can't see him today because he's wearing the camo, but I think that was on purpose. Sometimes what are those called? Those nuts? No seamies?
Yeah.
Seamies? Mm-hmm. We can't see him, but he's here.
Yeah.
Coach McMullen, it's been a pleasure, man. Always an open invitation for any of you guys to stop by here on the show. Keep us up to date. It's always time to talk baseball here at Starkville. So, anytime y'all want to stop by, come have at it. But we're so excited that all of y'all are here. And thanks for giving us a little bit of an update here on today's show.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And I'm so excited and grateful to be here in Starkville and get this underway. We're 10 days in, and the players have just been chomping at the bit, and it's really nice to be back on the field again. I can't wait for the fans to be able to see our team compete.
That's Coach Kevin McMullen. We appreciate him for stopping by today. We appreciate all y'all for stopping in as well, whether it's watching, listening, however you're keeping up with us here on Dear Old State. Thank you for doing so. We'll be back soon. Till then, Hail State!
Hail State!
Hail State!